Africa may not have scrolls or papyrus where its history is recorded, but its history is recorded in oral tradition, stone writings, rock art, language, and symbols. A combination of these sources carry evidence of common origins and cultural contacts through the centuries. Oral tradition, for instance, preserves records of ethnic bloodlines, migrations, kinship patterns, philosophies, and cosmologies whose mutuality or divergence expose the links and contacts between ancient nation-states or otherwise oppose any such claims. Language, on the other hand, is a powerful tool in the study of the histories and kinship of peoples and ethnic groups, and as discovered by Professor Catherine Acholonu, stone writings and symbols were undeniable forms of historical documentation. From the books, the Gram Code, and the Lived Before Adam, we gather that there are about 366 monoliths tucked away in faraway Akom in Cross River State of Nigeria. The people claim that they met the monoliths there and did not know who erected them. Most intriguing, however, were the writings and symbols rendered on them, which no other researcher had suspected was a form of writing until Professor Acholonu made the discovery. These writings were similar to the writing inscribed on ancient Igbo artifacts. Among these monoliths is a specific monolith standing at the center of a circle of other monoliths, showing that the entity is a person of high honor, a matriarch. The stone is dedicated to Shisha, who, according to Akom oral tradition, is the first mother of mankind. She is the queen of the monoliths, and according to Akom local tradition, she was the one who inaugurated the Ekpe cult, as well as the culture of writing or earth writing, which Igbos call Edeala, Edeana, or Nshibiri, Nsibiri, depending on the dialect. There's also Uri or Uli. She was the first woman to conceive, carry a pregnancy, and bear a child, and her child was the first child ever to be born of a woman in the whole world. This woman was Eve, whose Hebrew name is Ishsha. Ishsha also means woman and bears striking similarity to Shisha. Incidentally, the ancient Igbo word for first woman is Nshi or Eshi. It is also the name of the primal mother goddess. It is used interchangeably to refer to the sons and children of the mother goddess. By extension, Eshi, Nshi, Shisha are etymons of Ishsha, the Hebrew name for the first woman. And since geneticists have long proven that modern man was born on the African continent, and that a string of mitochondrial DNA shared by all women of all races in the world belonged to an African Eve who lived on the African continent 200,000 to 280,000 years ago, Israel could not have been the ancestor of Igbo people. Another pointer is the connection between the Hebrew Kabbalah and the Akom monoliths. According to Wikipedia, the Kabbalah is an esoteric method, discipline, and school of thought in Jewish mysticism. It forms the foundation of mystical religious interpretation within Judaism. According to the book, the Gram Code, it is generally believed that the Kabbalah came into Hebrew usage from Central Asia via the Chaldeans of Sumer. But based on Professor Catherine Acholonu's findings, which reveal a direct relationship between the monoliths and the Kabbalah, we are convinced that the Akom monoliths are the origins of both the Hebrew Kabbalah, the Chaldean Kabbalah, including Chinese mysticism similar to Kabbalah traditions. We will dwell on two features of the Kabbalah which are also mapped out in the Akom monoliths. The Kabbalah upholds and lays specific emphasis on the all-important law of opposites, otherwise called the law of opposition, which is fundamental to the establishment of balance throughout the universe. This equilibrium of the balance is the sustaining law of all matter, all life on earth and throughout the universe. Without it, even the gods would not exist. On earth, this law is especially manifested through the duality of the sexes, male and female, and the tendency to unification of the two opposites by which existence is preserved. The monoliths also reflect this mystery and recognize the equilibrium is a universal law of life and is consequent on the opposition of two forces in the very nature of God, and that the universe and everything in it uphold this fundamental law. Now, not only do all the symbols on the monoliths reflect the fundamental law of equilibrium, they also reflect the fundamental symbols of the occult philosophy of the Hebrew Kabbalah. The second feature is the mystery whereby God, the invisible archetype, is revealed in his visible creation. The system of symbols that embody and illustrate the nature and manifestation of God is known in the Kabbalah as Sephiroth. The Sephiroths are 10 in number, each standing for one or other aspect of God. They all come forth from the invisible, who the Kabbalah refers to as the no thing, in the sense that it is not a thing, and since no mind can conceptualize it, it belongs to the realm of the no thing as opposed to nothing, which implies non-existence. It has as its symbol the zero, otherwise called the Ein Sof. Within the Ein Sof is the first triad called the upper three, or Holy Sephiroth. They are the three heads which are one head and are reunited in the Ein Sof. Now, in the monoliths, as well as in its secret cults, and in the cosmology of Econ people, the triad is the root of everything. According to Sylvanus Orlando Along, the curator of the Open Air Museum of the Monoliths, the people's beliefs is centered on a cosmic tripod, otherwise called the pot of life, with 3 legs or 3 stones. Upon this pot of life, the earth and the cosmos must find its balance. This tripod is also represented in the symbology of the Ekbe cult by the triangle. The triangle is the root of everything in Ekbe. The Ekbe triangle is a triangle of equal sides, an equilateral triangle reflecting the divine triad and the cosmic triangle. Incidentally, this cosmic triangle is reflected on the Ibuku hexagonal grid, otherwise called the hyperspace or the flower of life. It comprises of equilateral triangles connecting one point of life or existence to the next into infinity. The 3, or triad, is represented in the Kabbalah by the equilateral triangle, so too in the monoliths of Ecom. Furthermore, basic words of the Hebrew Kabbalah equally reflect Igbo roots. Kabbalah means tradition. Its Igbo equivalent is Uba Allah, which means restore tradition. Tiferet means beauty, adornment. The Igbo equivalent is Tie Efe, which means dress up, adorn. Chokma, which means wisdom of God, is a cognate of Chi Oka Mara, meaning the all-wise God. The Kabbalah says that Adam's fall was a breaking, smashing to pieces of the unity of the Godhead, and that the process of restoration, repair, fixing, or binding together of Adam's scattered soul to restore the original unity of the universe is called Tikkun. Igbo equivalent of Tikkun is Tikonu, which means unite, bind together, join together. The universal importance of this philosophy is expressed in the symbolism of the Igbo Eucharist, the ritual associated with Ewoji, the breaking and communion sharing of the kola nut, a seed whose individual lobes always stick together. The Christian Eucharist involves the breaking and sharing of bread as communion. Whenever the kola nut is broken and shared in Igbo land, the ritual is done with the highest reverence, with incantations intoning the spirit of unity, one life, one love, one God. Another fact is the mystery of the flowing waters. Whereas current Igbo culture and cosmology recognize flowing waters as deities, the aspect of water as the great invisible spirit of God, Chukwu, was the belief of Igbos in antiquity. Evidence that this belief once existed can be gleaned from Canaanite names for rivers and for God, most of which are rooted in the Igbo etymon Iyi, as in Elion, which means Most High God. Its Igbo equivalent is Elu Iyi, meaning high waters. Yahweh, which means the self-existent, is a cognate of Iyonwe, meaning the self-existent waters. Insof, from the Hebrew Kabbalah, which means the concealed fountain or spring, its Igbo equivalent is Iyi Nsofo, the concealed, forbidden fountain of power. Finally, Israel, which means God rules, is derived from Yisrael, with the Igbo equivalent Iyi Eshi Ele, which literally means waters, fountain of God. From the foregoing, there is enough evidence to show that Igbo people are not Jews. Rather, Jews are Igbos, whose ancestry can be traced to Igbo land.